Well, let's get more on this from Ehud Olmert, who was Prime Minister of Israel from 2006 to 2009. Welcome back to DW. Could we start in Syria with your view of Israel's airstrikes in Suwaida, ostensibly to protect the Druze population?
Well, I must say that on this particular case, I understand the reaction of the Israeli government. I think we should, I can't speak for the government, but I think we should make every possible effort to establish a rapport with President Ashara El-Julani, the new president of Syria, and try to establish a certain process of communication that may lead into some very significant political changes. But that can't be at the expense of acquiescing, certainly not when the minority, the Druze minority, which, as was said correctly, is not considered to be an essential and integral part of the Syrian society, but which is deeply connected to the state of Israel and to the Druze community in the state of Israel. They should be attacked viciously and should be subject to very serious aggression that already killed quite a few people and may kill more.
All right, so let me just interrupt you there, just so we can keep up with what's going on, because what we're seeing in the south of Syria at the moment is an ongoing and long-standing a clan war, if you like. How does that justify Israel picking a side and launching air attacks into another nation?
Listen, with all due respect, they're talking about a nation which is in the state of war with the state of Israel, which is potentially collaborating with enemies of the state of Israel, an army which was disposed to fight and attack Israel for a very long time. So we have good reasons to make sure that the president, which was ISIS man, with a militia which was very active and aggressive against the state of Israel, will not have wrong ideas about the neighborly relations between us and them. And certainly the air attacks are against military installations only. And as you probably know very well from our previous meetings, I'm not a great supporter of the Israeli government, but on this particular case, there are very good reasons for Israel to need to take precautionary measures in order to make sure that the new administration in Syria is not following in the footsteps of ISIS in the past, but is prepared maybe to adapt itself into an entirely new dialogue with Israel. And sometimes we have to take these precautionary measures.
All right. So both sides, Israel and Syria, want a dialogue. This is Israel saying to Syria, these are our terms. We will talk to you, but these are red lines, and if we don't like it, we will bomb you.
Look, these are when there is a minority in Syria, which is deeply connected to a very important part of the state of Israel, and which is inclined to be friendly with Israel under these new circumstances, is threatened by annihilation by the new Syrian government. That is not a very positive signal, and that certainly can raise some suspicions and fears that demand a certain reaction. I hope that the warning of Israel will lead into a dialogue. And I'm not in favor of taking over any territory in Syria and not invading any part of Syria. And I am in favor of a dialogue. And I think that this is the interest of Israel. And I believe that this is also the interest of Bashar.
All right, that's clear. Let's turn to the war in Gaza now. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has outlined plans to build a so-called humanitarian city in the ruins of Rafah. You've been quoted as saying that this could be interpreted as a concentration camp. clearly, this is a loaded term, especially here in Germany. So how do you believe that this is similar to what the Nazi regime did to Jews?
No, it's not similar, and I never drew any comparison between these and the Nazis, and I don't think that it can be compared. What I'm afraid of is that it will be interpreted, and it's definitely an illegal action. And today, a few professors, experts of international law, publicly cautioned the chief of staff, warning him that any attempt to move a large part of the population against their will into a different part without any freedom of movement and kind of a segregated area in Gaza will be interpreted as a crime against humanity by the international community. And that's what I wanted to make sure that we are fully aware of possible ramification of this in order to prevent it. And I hope it will be prevented.
And what do you believe that are the Netanyahu government's real intentions for Gaza and its population?
I don't know. I can say what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of that, again, on this particular case, the dominant voice will be that of Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. And what they want, I think I know, because they kept saying it time and again, that they want to clear Gaza in order to be able to resettle and to reestablish the Jewish settlements, which I was part of disengaging from 20 years ago. So the fact that something like that is now planned or is suggested or is offered by the Minister of Defense, and I didn't hear that the Prime Minister is against it, it's enough to raise fears that it is part of a larger plan to perhaps resettle in the northern part of Gaza. And I think that this is dangerous, illegal, criminal, and must be avoided.
But whatever the post-war plans for Gaza are, first, of course, you need a ceasefire deal. And there was this New York Times investigation over the weekend claiming that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has deliberately been blocking ceasefire efforts, prolonging the war, for his own political gain. How do you see that?
Or do you want me to defend the Prime Minister?
No, I want to know whether or not you believe that the Prime Minister has been prolonging this war for his own gain.
I'm not in the habit of defending the Israeli Prime Minister, and I read the report of the New York Times. I entirely trust the reliability and credibility of them, and this is something that has been said time and again by many of us in Israel, that war at this point is unnecessary, that the Prime Minister did not make the necessary take the necessary measures in order to bring back the hostages, and that he is still not prepared to make what we all think is necessary, which is to stop the war and bring back all the hostages. So I'm not surprised by this report. I'm just disappointed that it just validates what we were all suspecting.
So Mr. Netanyahu's coalition was dealt a blow today, with some of his allies withdrawing from government and from supporting the coalition, leaving him with just a single-seat majority in the Knesset. What would it mean for Gaza if the government were to fall now?
The government will not fall. The Prime Minister may lose the present parliamentary majority. If tomorrow another party, a member of the coalition, will decide to leave the coalition, which is likely to happen, he will remain with only 50 members out of 120, so he will definitely lose the majority. But since the Knesset is going to a recess of 3 months, there can be no confidence motion taking place in this time. And the only possible effective no motion move in the no confidence move in the Knesset can be with what we call a positive proposal, which means that those who move for no confidence have to propose alternative candidate that has the support of 61 members, minimal absolute majority. And it's not likely to happen.
Right.
So it will be a caretaker government for another 3 months. And I guess that at the end of October, when the Knesset is readjourned, it will they will determine on an early election date, which probably will be sometimes at the end of March 2026. That's my assessment. You know, everything can happen in Israeli politics, as you know very well.
Thank you so much for joining us and talking us through that. Ehud Olmert, former Prime Minister of Israel. Thank you.
Thank you very much.